Love her. Thank you so much, Amy, for being here.
Well, it's funny. We keep saying we keep talking about ending sexual harassment as if this is a ridiculous idea, but it's not. It's an amazing idea. But we keep right. We're talking about like it can cut it in half. Let's start there. But it's really it's really telling that we talk about it in a way as if it's a cancer that we hope to put in remission. I am someone who has lived in New York City for 22 years, and I've worked as a server for tips for many of those years, and I stand with the workers for one fair wage. She's also a member leader of Rock New York, putting a spotlight on the systematic abuse of women across many industries, but it's especially pervasive in the restaurant industry, where we have heard that women make up 70% of the workforce and 90% report being harassed. And as we have pointed out, it is because relying on tips means we have to please our customers, we have to please our managers, we have to please our chefs, and all this expectation to please can put women in very vulnerable positions that often lead to exploitation.
She's a humanitarian, active in women's issues. She's an ambassador for the Worldwide Org.
And I worked for the most part with very reasonable restaurant owners, but I did, like every woman in this room, deal with incredible amounts of harassment from customers and coworkers, and it was a very routine way of life.
And the owner of Calissa and Amali Mao. Is it Mao or Moo?
Moo.
Moo.
No worries. As a small business owner, I'm going to put forth a radical proposition that if you pay people well, offer them benefits, and endeavor as much as you can to provide a respectful workplace, that your business will become more profitable.
I think that the issue of fair payment for minimum wage workers is definitely a huge part of the women's movement and the Me Too movement, because this is a job where obviously, or I should hope obviously, people are aware that this happens all the time. Sexual harassment is absolutely something that can come out of unfair payment.
Host of the State of Resistance podcast. She's a
having to just give a fake little giggle after a customer who's had one too many sloppily tells you that you're sexy is something that no worker should be forced to put up with. Now, forced in the sense that walking away could mean that you're essentially walking away from part of your wages.
Oh, hi, Kripa. Hi, Kripa. Sorry about that. I wasn't sure.
70% of these workers are women. They largely work at IHOP and Applebee's and Olive Garden. They suffer from 3 times the poverty rate of the rest of the U.S. workforce and the highest rates of sexual harassment of any industry in the U.S. because they're having to tolerate all kinds of inappropriate customer behavior to feed their family and tips. So the restaurant industry right now is the second largest and absolute fastest growing sector of the U.S. economy. It's almost 13 million workers. 1 in 11 American workers currently works in this industry. 1 in 2 of us has worked in this industry at some point in our lifetime, and yet it's the absolute lowest paying employer in the United States.
Yeah. It seems very last minute, and that's part of the problem. I think it's partly why people